Hello, welcome. This is Scarlet and Rage podcast. I am Michael, and Jay is with me. And we are coming to you tonight for the first time on a midweek episode. Hopefully, it won't be the last time, but there is so much going on in the Buckeye, uh, you know, uh, stratosphere that we thought we would discuss it a little further. Unfortunately, those things that are taking place have not been positive, and there's some more negative news that we're going to discuss tonight. But before we get to that, thank you so much, those of you that have liked and subscribed the last video. That video is approaching 5,000 views. And so for a podcast with 49 subscribers, when we put that video out, that's pretty incredible. We now have over 100 subscribers. So all of you that have subscribed recently, thank you. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know every time that we release a new episode. Okay, Jay, first thing today or tonight, I understand that you got a chance to see the Ohio State. We'll talk a little high school football for just a minute. Ohio State Division II high school football state championship. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, congratulations to the Massillon Tigers. They won their first on the field state championship in school history. So congratulations to them.
Nice.
Thank you for all of you for liking and subscribing for over the past week. We've kind of sort of blown up here on this channel a little bit for us blowing up. So thank you. Continue to watch us. We'll continue to bring you content. So thank you everybody for that. But yeah, watch it. So here's the thing. This is really not about that game. This is about the state of football in the state of Ohio. I'm watching this Massillon-Hoban game, and neither team can throw the forward pass. These are two teams that are in the top 5 in the state. Actually, probably two teams that are in the top 3 or 4 teams in the state, and neither one can execute the forward pass. They either don't have the quarterback play to do it. They either don't have the receiver play. They don't have the pass blocking. And I'm watching that game, and I'm like, this is why Ohio State goes out of state for quarterbacks and receivers and offensive tackles, because the offenses in Ohio at the highest level, which is Division I, Division II, they cannot throw the forward pass. I don't know what it is, but I was watching that game. The final score was 7-2. It was 7-2. Like,
wow.
What the hell?
Yeah, and last year, the semifinal of that division, Division II, the school just right down the road from me, Kings, was in.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, they were a team that they threw the ball like 45 times a game, and they couldn't run the ball at all. And the semifinal last year, their semifinal was like 49-45. So I don't know if it's all over or if this is just an isolated case, but I do think that there are some concerns that Ohio high school football is definitely falling behind some from what certainly it has been, and maybe what it could be. Maybe we're not helping things as much as we could.
Absolutely not. We're really hindered by not having any kind of like AAU 7-on-7. From what I understand, the players in the state aren't allowed to go and travel and participate in camps outside of the state for AAU 7-on-7. So, that's a thing. There is no spring football.
I don't know. I just wonder why. Why does the Ohio High School Association, why are they putting their hands in where the players of their state can go? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. I mean, the OHSAA, from what I understand, has always been very slow, extraordinarily slow at adapting and changing for the good. Not all change is good, but that kind of change is good. Not all change is good, but I believe this would be absolutely beneficial to our state because the state's already lagging behind. I mean, look at look at the recruits in the state of Ohio in the 2023 or 2024 class. We have 3 top 100 composite recruits. That's that's okay, but it's that's not a powerful football talented state to me. Not at all.
No, I mean, and here's the question: if they opened things up, if they allowed the camps, if they got a little more progressive and did spring football, some of the things that would benefit the talent in the state, like, is it possible that we might could have 5 or 6 top 100 guys some years if we put a little more effort in developing these kids in the modern way of doing football, which is these 7-on-7 camps, which is uh having those extra practices in the spring, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. We don't know the answer to that because so far they're staying stuck in their tradition of the past and they're not making those changes that they need to move the state forward.
I completely agree. The state of Ohio is, stuck in their old ways, and it's really hurting the development with our players. Again, but I mean, you see it on the field. Again, tonight is a perfect example of two teams that can't throw the forward pass. I mean, both teams had very good athletes, but just the development is not there to
Yeah.
be able to throw the ball around from either team. Like
And
Massillon had a quarterback who really couldn't throw. He could run very well, DeJuan Owens, but
and
both defenses were really good, but man,
And 15 years ago, it was 15, 20 years ago, it was a different story. Like Florida players were very underdeveloped years ago. They were known as having very bad coaching throughout much of the state of Florida. And I lived in Florida for a year, and there's still quite a bit of bad coaching down there, but they get to play a lot. They get to do all of that extra playing and those camps and just throwing the ball. And my son, who is a young quarterback, and he really is a talented kid. He's very fast and has a very good arm. And he played in a little 7-on-7 league. And, just the 4 or 5 games he played in, it's a big benefit, because you just can't replace that because it forced him to sit back there and try and read defenses because he couldn't run, so in the games he can depend on his running. The 7-on-7 forced him to make the passes. That's the only way he can move the ball down the field. And I just don't understand why we're keeping our guys from being able to do this in some of these outside camps that would be very beneficial for their development to be able to play against these players from other places, and beneficial maybe for their exposure and for their rankings.
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know. Not unless we get an OHSAA official, or not official, like somebody who's like really in charge in the administration of the OHSAA.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them on our podcast. We're gonna work for it, people. We're gonna get somebody on here. Moving on. Obviously, a lot of news has been occurring with Ohio State lately. A lot of transfers and this, that, and the other. But Michael, I know you saw this. Our biggest recruit, Justin Scott, he took the money and he went to Miami, man. What, just like bad news after bad news with Ohio State
Yeah.
football lately, man.
I mean, reeling does this feel a lot like last year, or a reeling loss from Michigan, followed by bad recruiting mojo. I mean, this seems like this is definitely the second year in a row that this has happened. And I know that you'll talk about this later, and we can talk about it maybe in more detail, but I'm just going to throw it off the statement as a cuff. I don't want to go to the playoffs. I don't. Okay. There's too much negativity around the program. The fan base is negative, and rightly so. And I just don't want to go into the playoffs with that because I just don't think that, I mean, my gosh, there's just a cloud around the Ohio State football program. And it was this way this time last year. And all I can say is it sucks. It absolutely sucks. And so to lose this kid, big time kid, supposed to be a big time talent, and he's exactly the kind of kid you need to try and get over the hump and get to where Ryan Day or Ohio State has not been able to get under Ryan Day. So this is a big loss.
Absolutely massive loss, and it's not a loss we're going to be able to replace. And I have a theory on this. I'm going to go against the grain when it comes to why I think this kid flipped. Number one, and again, we talked about it on our podcast from a few days ago that everybody liked, but I really do believe that recruits are starting to see a program run by Ryan Day is not viable for them to actually win a national championship. Now, here's the thing. I fully understand that Miami is not a program either that's viable to win a national championship. But here's the thing. I bet you any money Justin Scott thought in his mind. He's like, you know what? Ohio State did offer me a good NIL deal. Miami's offering a little bit better. But here's the thing. He's probably in the back of his mind thinking, Larry Johnson's not doing a very good job with development for the players on Ohio State. I
No.
mean, look, like Tui Malau and Jack Sawyer have underachieved.
I don't think either one of
He's
those are going in the first round.
absolutely not. No, they will not.
Hmm.
He's looking at them, seeing they've underachieved. He looks at Ryan Day and he's like, this guy's really not that good of a coach. They're never going to win under him. And he's also looking. So then he looks at Miami. He's like, well, I could also go to Miami. I could make more money, enjoy South Beach and sunny weather because he's from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, but I'm not going to win there, but I might as well enjoy my time and get paid more. I really do believe that. Was this NIL based some? Sure it was. Was it also based on the weather? Absolutely. But we're forgetting about probably the biggest fact is Ohio State doesn't fucking win. We do not win. We haven't won the Big Ten since 2020. We haven't been in the national scene. I mean, I understand we made the playoff last year by backing in. Luckily, we're not going to back in this year though. But it's just like these guys, they see it. They're like, this team, they're not winning. Why would I go there when I could go somewhere else and make more money and enjoy sunnier weather versus Columbus, Ohio?
They don't have the juice, Jay. I mean, the team just doesn't have the juice.
No,
you watch the team, and it's just there's just something missing. And recruits see that. Kids see that. They see the teams that like flash and that pop when you watch them. And this Buckeye team, it didn't. And the offense has flashed the last couple of years, but that's a whole different story. The team, there's always been deficiencies that they haven't been able to overcome. And I think that it is possible that kids are starting to see, because, like I said the other day, how many years in a row can a program take a gut punch late in the season? Last year, 2 gut punches to end the season. And every year that Ryan Day has been here, it's been a gut punch. So how long can a program continue to sustain that before it takes that little step back? And I just think we might be getting close to that. And some recruits might be starting to see that.
Yeah, they are. We got to hold our breath for Jeremiah Smith now, because there are rumblings he's thinking about decommitting and going somewhere else or flipping to somewhere. But I will say this. If Ohio State would have beaten Michigan, if they would have won the Big Ten, I don't think Justin Scott would have flipped. I personally don't. I think he saw that game and said, yeah, I don't want to go there. They don't win.
If Ohio State goes out.
Nobody's saying that.
If Ohio State goes out and beats Michigan 30-24 in their home field, I feel very confident Scott is not flipping. I feel very confident. He's like, yeah, this is a place where you're going to go in as a high seed in the playoffs and you have a chance to compete. But it's becoming more and more clear that that's, I mean, it sounds crazy to say that that's not Ohio State, but and the 12-team playoff is coming. I get all of that, but I don't know. I mean, it would be cool, Jay, if we were playing the 12-team playoff this year. We would be getting matched up with Ole Miss in Columbus in December. Now that would be cool. That would be cool. That would be worth going to the playoffs. Even if you can't win it, it would be cool to beat Ole Miss in December. But, with Ryan Day teams, you don't really have an advantage to a Southern team coming into Columbus in December, because his teams are not tough, physical teams that are going to use the weather to their advantage. And so, I don't know how much. In fact, Gene Smith said we need to just play them in domes. We need to just go play it in domes. Don't even play it on Ohio Stadium. That's when you know that the program's in trouble, Jay. When the AD is talking about playing home playoff games on a neutral site in a dome so that his coach doesn't have to possibly play in the cold.
Gene Smith's such a stupid dumb fuck, man. Such a stupid dumb fuck, man. Good. I mean, we can't say it on this podcast enough. Good riddance to that stupid motherfucker. I really can't stand him and his little equity commercials I hear on 97.1 The Fan. So yeah, fuck him.
His time has come and gone. It's time for him.
Yeah,
to
he's
move
a lame
on.
duck AD. But the thing
Yeah.
is, like, you have a football program that's underachieving, a basketball program that's playing a little better right now, but we
Mhm.
know what's up with Chris Holtman, and a baseball program that's just non-existent. And we have to wait for him to freaking leave in June to make any moves. But I did see that Ohio State offered some Middle Tennessee defensive tackle today, Michael. Yay. Yay, there we go. That's going to get everybody all fired up
Hold
there.
on.
Did you see
You
that?
mean a high school player from Middle Tennessee, or a player from Middle Tennessee State University?
Middle Tennessee State University.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the guy. Marley Cook, 6'2", 298, kind of fits in there with those undersized defensive tackles that
Interesting.
Larry Johnson likes to play.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Very not a good interesting either. Moving on, I have been paying attention to what some of you have been saying in the comments, and I have listened to other Ohio State podcasts some and tried to get a feel for what people have been saying about the Ohio State Michigan game. And people continue to point like the biggest finger in the wrong direction. Not saying this person is not responsible at all. That is false. They are absolutely responsible. But stop blaming Kyle McCord for losing to fucking Michigan. It's not his fault. It is not his fault. The game plan on offense was atrocious. The game plan on defense was atrocious. Kyle was handicapped by a poor offensive game plan and a defense that can't get off the fucking field against a team you know what they're going to do on offense. Knowles, you fucking suck.
Well, let me tell you what a lot of the people are saying. A lot of the podcasts are saying. They're saying that, and I think this is just a talking point. I really do. I think it literally is like a talking point, because I'm hearing several of the podcasts say the same thing. And some of the guys that are saying it, I like them, but and that talking point is, when you go back and look at the film, Ryan Day had an amazing game plan.
Yeah, I know.
Kyle McCord had so many open receivers, and he just wasn't reading the field or didn't make the play. You know what, Jay? Though I've watched this offense all year, this is not a complicated offense that he has Kyle McCord running. This is he has made this offense. He runs RPOs with Kyle McCord where there's not actually any option to do anything but throw it. And
Right.
I think that's what happened on the interception. Is he gives these RPO looks, but we never hand the ball off on the RPO. We always throw it, or maybe the RPO look is I feel like they're called. I don't feel like that Kyle has been given the freedom to read it. And so with the RPO look the other day, I don't know if he could have handed it to Trey or not. I don't think he could have, because it's like he didn't even hardly acknowledge that Trey was there, even though it was kind of an RPO look with the little slant. And the corner has it covered dead to rights on the inside, and he throws it there anyway. Now, I don't know. Maybe that's the play. Maybe that's the way that he's being coached, is that he has to throw the ball. We're just giving an RPO look. Ryan Day does this in other concepts. He gives a read option look, but everyone in the stadium knows there is no option. The quarterback is never going to pull it and take it. So he does this in multiple things where he shows a look, but there's really only one thing that's going to happen with that look. And, so I'm not convinced. I haven't seen the film, so I don't want to say, 100%, but I'm not convinced that this talking point that Day called this brilliant game is actually accurate.
Absolutely not. No, because go and watch, again, go watch Ohio State against Michigan State 2 weeks ago and what they did on offense, and they spread it around. Hell, they gave Marvin Harrison the ball on a jet sweep. Where was that against Michigan? Where was any kind of creativity, some kind of innovation? Where is this spreading it out, getting your athletes in space? There was none of that going on against Michigan. Not
It's
they didn't get Travion on the outside either.
it's amazing how creative and kind of things he can come up with against these teams that he knows there's no consequence. He knows he can try whatever he wants and there's no consequence because we're going to kill him. And you look at those games versus most of the big games, and it's like two totally different guys. It's like two totally different coaches.
Oh yeah, he puckers up. Again, he can't take the pressure, people. I mean, again, we have like continued to say this. One of these days, I'm gonna one more thing we need to do, Michael, for the listeners here is I used to call into some of these sports radio stations years ago and just vent about how shitty Ryan Day was as a coach in big games. And man, I listened to that like a day or two ago. Some of my calls that I had post Oregon, post Michigan last year. Man, oh man, was I spot on. I was really spot on about that. But it's like, again, I pointed this out on the last episode too, is the people that blame Kyle McCord. Well, who do you blame the last 2 years then? If if you're going to blame the quarterback for this game, do you blame CJ Stroud for the last 2 games, like in 21 and 22 as well, for him playing bad?
People say, "Oh, well, it's the defense. It's the defense." Okay, but here's the bottom line, folks. Here's the bottom line, Ohio State fans. I say this in love because we need to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the head coach of the football team? All these things are always happening, and there's always this excuse, and it's always this person's fault, and it's always that person's fault, and it's this person. Who is the head coach of the football team? It's Ryan Day. And great head coaches find a way. So far, Ryan Day has always found a way not to find a way.
Not in the big games. No, I'm sick and fucking tired of losing big games, Mike. It's been on my mind. It just pisses me off. I get pissed off when I do this podcast because there's really been no good news out of Buckeye Nation lately. It's just not really. I mean, well, there is maybe a little bit of good news. We're about to get there in a minute, but it's just like, I'm looking at the scores from the 2022 game, and we only scored 23 points in that game. 2021, I think we scored 27. And then, the other day we scored 24. So basically pretty much average considering what we've done the last 3 years. So are you really blaming Kyle for that? He put up like 270 yards passing. He played fine. You can't blame Kyle.
Connor Stallions is the only reason we've lost to Michigan.
Yeah. I know that's just soft ass Ohio State fans right there, man. And it's just like some of these podcasts have blown up that whole Connor Stallions thing. And again, just to remind you guys, we do not believe that Connor Stallions thing really gave Michigan the advantage to beat Ohio State the way they did like that. We do not. It happens a lot of places. A lot of teams try and steal signs, this, that, and the other. It's on Ohio State to probably be on it a little better. So it happens. But, again, the players have to play. We don't put any merit into that. So anywho, the little bit of good news, Michael, is, I know we just blasted the defense, but I saw that Jim Knowles.
Are you transitioning? I thought you were.
What is it?
When you said good news, I thought you were going to be transitioning to the Knowles story. So, okay.
Yeah, that's a good guess, man. Good guess. Again, fingers fucking crossed, people. Fingers crossed, because Jim Knowles might go to Duke. He interviewed. I know they interviewed a couple other candidates, but Knowles, get the fuck out, man. You're not built to be a Big Ten. No, you're not built to be an Ohio State level defensive coordinator. You're not. You're not aggressive enough. The 4-2-5 is too gimmicky. Like you freaking had like somebody who played like the jack position and then you go away from it. It's like nothing's ever consistent under him. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't blitz nearly as much as people think. Last year, the only game they really blitzed in was Michigan. They paid for it. But they had the secondary this year to do it. They didn't do it. So I really don't know why he's labeled such a aggressive DC. But
his blitzes were within like 3 or 4 blitzes of last year to this year. It was almost like exactly the same. He just doesn't blitz a lot.
No, he really doesn't. He doesn't blitz a lot, and he doesn't protect the line of scrimmage, man. I just swear, like the best DCs you feel it, and I mean, I guess you don't feel it because I'm not out there playing, but you see it. You really see it, and it's palpable through the TV screen almost. Or if you're actually there, like visibly, like watching it on the field, like you can
Yeah.
feel like that a line is drawn in the sand, and they say you are not crossing here. You are not getting 1 yard. Go
Yeah.
watch like the Georgia's like defensive coordinators in the SEC. Honestly, Manny Diaz at Penn State has a very similar philosophy to the DCs in the SEC. Just
Mhm.
very aggressive, challenging everything, challenging the line of scrimmage, not letting you run, being very aggressive, letting your athletes play, making the other team beat you like with speed and athleticism rather than just freaking pounding it, all day. You know what? Like, don't, I would rather give up like a 40, 50 yard play than freaking get, you know, destroyed like your willpower just taken from you from just like power run all day.
Well, Jay, a SEC defensive coordinator that I would certainly be interested in taking a look at that I think could potentially be an upgrade, an SEC coordinator that has Ohio ties
I was
and
about to say that.
and that also is known throughout college football or as a extremely good recruiter. So that might be something that I would get excited about. A good DC that's a great recruiter, because Knowles is a terrible recruiter, like awful.
Talking about DJ Durkin, right?
I'm talking about DJ Durkin. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
bring in DJ Durkin.
Yeah, is he at Texas A&M right now? What's the deal
Yep,
with him?
yep.
Okay, he's at
Texas
Texas.
A&M.
All right, they had not the greatest of defenses this year, but I like his style, man. I think he
Mhm,
runs a traditional 4-3, very aggressive style from like the Youngstown area.
mhm,
So, but the thing is with him, it's kind of like he's like poor man's Urban in the fact that he's from Ohio, but
mhm.
he's coached in the SEC. That
Yeah.
means he has the allure of going down there and
Yes.
getting those recruits and then bringing them up to Ohio
Not
State.
only that, Jay. I lived in the South for many years. Okay, so
Mhm.
I knew. Well, I mean, I played it very different, but I mean, I played college baseball for an SEC team. But that's very different from football. So I'm not trying to compare that. But it, there's a certain way that they approach it down there, and it's different than the way they approach in the Big Ten. And the guys that have never coached in that environment, they don't know that. And so the guys that have coached in that environment are better at beating them at their own game when they have to go back down there, because they're much more familiar with the way they do things. It's a win at all cost mentality in a lot of places in the South.
What happened with him at Maryland? I forget. Something like somebody died or like a player died under his watch and they blamed him and they fired
Yeah.
him. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Basically something like that.
I don't get it, man. How can you be like I mean, I'm sure he didn't want the kid to die. Who wants anyone to die? It's like I don't know the story. I have to go back and look at the story. I don't remember it. I do remember it was a couple years ago, but the thing is, Texas A&M didn't have any problem hiring him to be their DC. And
No.
look, it's cutthroat down there, man. If you can produce, we'll hire you. Look at the damn fucking Arkansas bringing back what the hell is his name? Their old head coach.
Petrino.
Yeah. Yeah, Petrino. That's right.
Petrino's always doing something. He's having an affair. He's got a girlfriend with his secretary.
Right.
He's always got
Yeah,
something going
he
on.
got
But
fired. He got caught on that motorcycle with that freaking that assistant, that staffer assistant got fired, Bobby Petrino.
right,
And yet here he is still hired back, man. They just want to win. They're like, hey man, we'll brush this under the rug as long as you win.
right,
That's all they fucking care about down there, man.
right.
That's all they care about. And again, I've spoken to former SEC players about this, and they say they're so secretive about things that things go on within their team. The players don't even know about that. They keep it so under wraps if something happens. It's
Oh, I'm
amazing.
sure.
It's
I'm
just a
sure.
completely different culture down there, man. But the Big Ten and Ohio State, they just bend over and take it.
Yeah. So I mean,
That's right.
Jay, at University of Kentucky, their basketball is what rules there. There is. There was all kinds of things going on at University of Kentucky that were violations of the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care. They could have cared less. And their football teams down there operate that same way. But the Big Ten is always hanging itself on the rope of virtue, as opposed to slugging it out and playing by their rules. You know what? If I'm Ryan Day right now, I'm going to start having Pantone just contact players from other teams that you want. Like if you've got a kid from University of Tennessee and you want him and is a defensive tackle, just have Pantone start contacting him. Pantone's staff start contacting him throughout the season. There are no rules anymore. So the more Ohio State tries to act like, we're going to play by these rules, nobody else is playing by these rules anymore. Michigan said, we're going to find some loopholes around the rules. We're and maybe they'll get in trouble for it. Maybe they won't. I don't know.
Good for you, Michigan fans. Good for you that you guys have an administration that actually backs your coaching staff and stuff. Because honestly, in the back of our minds, and I've said this before, I kind of hope Michigan gets off with this scot-free. Personally, I do, because it will show Ohio State, hey, this is what you need to do when you deal with the NCAA. You don't give them anything, but take from them everything.
That's when Jim Harbaugh earned my respect. Now, I have never respected any Michigan coach in my life, really, other than kind of Lloyd Carr. Like I had respect for Lloyd Carr, but I had no respect for Rodriguez or Brady Hoke, or and so and I really didn't have that much respect for Harbaugh. I knew he was a good coach, but he wasn't doing anything. But when he told the NCAA to basically forget it, like get out of here about the hamburger deal, that's when I was like, well, okay, this guy gets it. Like,
he does.
He gets that the SEC's been doing that for 30 years. The NCAA shows up at their doorstep. They're paying Cam Newton or whatever other kind of scandal you want to come up with, and they're saying like, we're going to investigate, and the SEC says, get out of here. Like, we're not cooperating with you. And what does the NCAA do? It leaves. That and Harbaugh, it's like he said, get out of here. I'm not talking about this. And so he kind of earned my respect with that.
Absolutely earned my respect too.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh, weird as fuck guy, or at least he comes off that way. What's he doing? I think he was trying to have a kid when he was like in his 50s. Did you see that? Like, that's some weird fucking shit. But regardless,
he's a strange guy. He really is.
Strange fucking dude, man. But hey, man, if he gets it up and he still produces kids at that age, more power to him. But man, that's fucking weird. I wouldn't want to be an old dad like that. But more power to him, man.
He's got a young wife, I guess.
Oh, hell yeah. He's fucking Jim Harbaugh. He's a millionaire. I'm sure he has a hot wife that's younger and just does whatever he asks. So more power to him. But anywho, weird as fuck, but smart guy. Smart guy. Really smart guy. Very shrewd. Smart guy. He knows what the fuck is up. He's got balls on him, like obviously, to produce a kid at 50 some years old. But weird guy. He's everything what Ryan Day is not. Ryan Day is like, like speaks well to the media, this, that, and the other, but he doesn't really have a set of balls on him in the big games. And, I don't think Ryan Day is a weird guy, but he's not a good coach. And we've said it, we continue to say it on this podcast. Jim Harbaugh is the best coach in the Big Ten. It's not even close. I don't even know if I put Ryan Day in the top 3, but hot take, speaking of Kentucky, if Ryan Day were to ever be let go, leave Ohio State, fired, a name I might consider, Mark Stoops from Kentucky.
Yeah.
I would not complain about that.
Yeah.
Man, just look what he's done at Kentucky in the SEC.
Yep.
They're doing fine down there, man. I think that would be a solid hire.
I think that would be a Glenn Mason type of hire. I would be all for it. I would be all for giving it a shot. I was all for giving Glenn Mason a shot because of what he did at Minnesota. It didn't work out. We got Tressel, and obviously Tressel did a great job. So, but if we hadn't have gotten Tressel, I think Mason would have been good. Glenn Mason would have been a very good option, and I think that Stoops is kind of along that lines. What he's done at Kentucky is very. It's like if he's done that at Kentucky, like he's doing some things right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I again, just a name to look out for if things were ever really go really south of Ryan Day. But let's be real, we're kind of a lame duck program. We're not going to win under him. So until he's gone, things aren't going to change. It's just the reality, guys. It's a reality. Michael, I saw like the first team Big Ten came out, like the team, like first team offense, first team defense. Can you guess who made the first team defense from Ohio State? Sure, it's Not gonna be too hard.
JT Tuimoloau.
Tommy Eichenberg.
Uh, only Tommy?
Well, I mean, other people
Oh.
did too.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
what Denzel Burke did, Tommy did. I actually
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really care about the list because I took a glance at it and I
Mhm.
saw how like just so like do these the people who vote on this, do they watch the games? That's so they're really my biggest question. Do they watch the games? Because I believe that oh man, our offensive tackle that escapes me, man. He's really struggled in pass protection.
Fryer?
Yeah, Josh Fryer. Man, why is Josh Fryer's name escape you? Because he sucks so bad. He shouldn't fucking.
Right.
He made first team.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I can't believe that Josh Fryer made first team All Big Ten.
Yeah. And our other offensive tackle didn't. He was our best offensive tackle. He was our best offensive lineman all year. The transfer from San Diego State.
Simmons was,
Yeah, Josh Simmons.
yeah, I mean, he's not like an amazing, but he's way better than Fryer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because he's an actual like offensive tackle. He doesn't have offensive tackle like length. I mean, he might have the length, but like he's only like 6'5". Like you want your offensive tackles like, if you're an NFL team to be like 6'7", but
Matt Jones made second team Big Ten.
that's kind of a joke. But I tell you this, Tommy Eichenberg making first team is a total joke. That guy is not in Ohio State. Again, we've gone over this and over this. Tommy Eichenberg is just we don't think he's any good, but these people like who vote on this, they don't know anything. I mean, it's clear. They don't know anything. They don't at
Yeah,
least not when it comes to this.
yeah. I mean, did JT Tuimoloau make first team?
I have no idea, man. I glanced at the list once
Hmm.
and I was like, this is such a disgusting list. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
throw up
couldn't
if I
find
look at it any
the
longer.
defensive list there, but yeah, I mean, Tommy Eichenberg is. Yeah. Here's another thing. It said that he only had like one functional arm on Saturday. Well, number one, he shouldn't be playing if that's the case. If he only had
Right.
one functional arm, he shouldn't be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, why does Ryan Day never give anybody any idea of what's going on with the players? Like, why can't he tell us if somebody's hurt? Like, why can't he? I mean, I even heard somebody in the media the other day saying that. They said Ryan Day has to start giving us some reliable injury information because we because Tommy Eichenberg is getting ragged for his performance, and rightly so, because it was a terrible performance. But come to find out, he really only had like one arm. Like he couldn't even hit with one shoulder.
Well, my
So
thing of Tommy is he's always had bad performances in big games, healthy or not. And the only
that's
good game
true.
I think I remember seeing him play was against Utah in the Rose Bowl because their offense kind of fed exactly into what he did. And, he'd had a pretty solid game against Notre Dame the first game of 2022. But outside of that, man, he's terrible. Like, look at Penn State in 2022, Maryland 2022, Michigan 2022, Georgia. Awful, awful
No, I
linebacker
agree. I
play, man.
agree with you. He doesn't play well.
Slow.
He
Just
doesn't
because you have
play.
a hurt hand doesn't mean you still can't run fast, because if it's your hand, you can still be like, have the motion
Yeah.
of like sprinting. He's just no good. I mean,
He,
he'll he might make a practice squad in the NFL just on name alone, but he'll never get any significant reps.
I would be very surprised if he got drafted before the 5th round. I don't think he's going to be a high draft pick.
I don't think he'll
Uh,
get drafted.
he may not. I mean, but I could see him going in the 5th, 6th, or 7th. But I certainly don't see him going.
If he gets
In
drafted, I
early.
think it'd be like the 6th or 7th, but I don't anticipate that. I think he'll be I think he'll have to sign on as a free agent somewhere, similar to like Tanner McAllister and
Yeah,
Ronnie Hickman and
yeah.
players like that. But again, everyone, this is a shorter podcast today. We just wanted to give you some news and updates and our thoughts on things. Michael, I guess we can like touch on this a little bit. Is
Mhm.
the weekend ahead? Obviously, Ohio State's not playing, but what games are you looking forward to most with all of the championships?
Well, I am looking forward to the Alabama Georgia game because
Mm.
I am an Alabama fan on Saturday. I
Are
might
you now?
even I am. I am rooting for Alabama. Nick Saban is the GOAT. He's the greatest. And so I don't have a problem with him winning. I don't want to see another Kirby Smart championship. So I want Saban to stop it. I want Saban to take back control. I want him to knock Kirby off his high horse a little bit because I know ultimately Saban time is not on his side. But Kirby, if he gets it going too hard, then that's going to be a hard train to stop because he's only 40 something years old. So I'm rooting for Nicky to stop the freight train known as the Georgia Bulldogs and shock the world and prove that Alabama can beat anybody, anytime, anywhere.
I can't disagree with you there because Jalen Milroe is going to really give Georgia a lot of problems with his mobility and stuff. But I will say this: do you realize if Alabama beats Georgia and then the rest is like chalk, kind of outside of the Washington Oregon game? Do you realize the SEC is going to get left out of the Final Four?
Well, I just think that they'll find a way to.
No, but so think about it. So if Washington beats Oregon, they're in. They're an undefeated Pac-10 champion. They're in. Next day,
Michigan beats Iowa.
Michigan beats Iowa in the Big Ten championship. They're undefeated. Big
Right.
Ten. They're in. Florida State beating Louisville in the ACC championship here Saturday night in Charlotte. Yeah, I actually like in the back of my mind, I was like, do I want to go to that game? No, it's gonna be cold as fuck, and I have a young baby. Oh, well, not that he's like a year and a half now, but yeah.
No.
They're in. Florida State's in. So then that
Yeah.
leaves it between the SEC champion. Now, if Georgia wins and they're undefeated, they're in. But here's where they're out:
Yeah,
is if
Texas
Texas wins and Alabama wins, Texas is in. They're not. Alabama's not getting in because Texas went on the road and beat Alabama. And they have held the head-to-head as like, the committee's looking at that and saying, hey, this was already settled. So then, like, if Alabama were to get in over Texas right there, that would be a crime against humanity. Texas deserved to be in because they already settled it on the field.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying it wouldn't shock me at all if they rationalize, well, Alabama has the better resume because they beat the two-time defending champ, number one team in the country. They beat Ole Miss. They beat LSU. They beat Tennessee. And Texas got them early in the year. And we're trying to put the four best football teams right now. And right now, Alabama just beat the number one team in the country, and they're one of the four best teams. And so we're going to have to leave Texas out. I'm not saying that they're going to do that. I'm just saying I could very easily see them doing it. And if I was a Texas fan, would I be extremely mad? Yeah, I would be. But I could see them doing it.
Mad, I would be freaking breaking shit, man. My TV would be broken.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were a Texas fan,
Right.
I would be going to like wherever the committee makes their decisions. I think I don't even know where they meet anymore. I think it kind of rotates, but I would be freaking banging on their door. I would be like rioting damn near. I would be.
I mean, I remember the first college football committee, Jay, had Condoleezza Rice on there. That's when I knew like this wasn't serious. I knew.
Yeah, I don't even know who's on the committee. I will say I do
Yeah.
know that NC State athletic director is like the head of the committee. I don't know how that happened. Anywho, so but yeah. But personally, I think I'm looking forward. I mean, I'm a tie. I'm a tie between Oregon and Washington game. Really curious to see that one.
I want to see that. I want to see that too.
Yeah, that one. And, obviously Alabama, Oregon. I expect Michigan to handle Iowa. Hey, by the way, Michigan fans, thank you for subscribing and really liking our video, man. We're going to continue to talk you up because you're the Big Ten's last hope. So we're cheering for you over here. We are. We're Big Ten fans second.
I'm still going to watch that game, Jay, because I want to see what Michigan does to that Iowa defense. I want to see if Michigan can beat that Iowa team 30-7 or something like that.
It's going to be hard for Michigan. I will say this. Michigan fans, this game's going to be closer than you think because Iowa's had an extra day of rest. Remember that they played on Friday. Michigan played on Saturday against Ohio State. That was, slug it out, drag it out game, even though we've discussed backwards and forwards like the failure of Ryan Day and that. But regardless, it was still a tough game for you guys. Rivalry game. Emotions were high. You're now having to turn around on a shorter rest than what Iowa has. And Iowa still has a legit defense, man. It is not going to be easy. Iowa has probably the second best defense in the conference behind Michigan. It's like Michigan 1, Iowa 2, Penn State 3. I would say Ohio State and Penn State are probably tied at 3.
I mean, but Michigan's defense is going to have to fail to get off the bus to give up more than 14 points against that Iowa offense. That
Yeah, I
Iowa
know, but
offense is
weird
so
things
bad.
happen in Big Ten
Yeah.
championship games, man. It wouldn't surprise me if like Michigan. I don't know if Iowa. I mean, Iowa's run game is not as bad as their offense is. Their run game is not a terrible. Like their running back is not. He's a pretty solid back, but the rest of their offense is bad.
I'm
But
going to go out on a limb, Jay. I'm going to make a prediction that nobody's asking for on this podcast. But
okay, what prediction is that?
I'm going to go ahead and say Michigan 27 and Iowa 10. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about. I can't give a prediction, man. I can't give a prediction on that. I think Michigan's absolutely going to win, but that means that Iowa covered the spread because the spread's like 23 points.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot more than I would have thought. I would have put it at like 16. So I guess I expect Michigan to win by, 16, 17 points. Score, doesn't really matter. Michigan's in. Oregon, now I will say if I do expect Oregon to beat Washington, if they beat Washington and then like the rest is chalk after that and Alabama beats Georgia, it's going to be really weird about what happens there. I don't know. I don't know because then are you going to leave Oregon out?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Oregon is definitely playing very well right now. That's why I expect them to beat Washington. But I don't know.
I think Oregon is about the only team. Sorry, Michigan fans, but I really do believe Oregon's about the only team that can beat either Alabama or Georgia. I personally believe that. I don't think Michigan is good enough. Yeah, they're the best team in the Big Ten, but they're probably like the fifth best team in the country. It's just fact of the matter. Yeah. So one last thing. Bowl game for Ohio State. They're probably going to the Orange Bowl, Michael. I think we discussed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to the Orange Bowl. They're going to the Orange Bowl. And by the way, they might be playing my wife's alma mater, NC State.
Wouldn't that be a powerful football game?
Goodness gracious, man. I might end up divorced afterwards. Oh my God, man. But if that happens, we are absolutely going to Miami. I don't care if it's not a playoff game or not, man. We will go and see that game.
I think it would be fun to go to Miami because it's like there's no pressure. There's no, there's no, you're just kind of there to watch the game and see the young guys and hope that you see something cool. I mean, it's not like, you're living and dying by every play, like when like during a playoff game or something like that. So I think it would be a fun trip to go watch whoever they play in Miami, whether it's
Louisville. Go down, man. Let's go down, man. Let's meet down there in Miami, man. Enjoy the nicer weather and stuff. Yeah. It's be NC State versus Ohio State's backups.
Yeah, whether it's Louisville, whether it's NC State.
Yeah, Louisville, NC State versus Ohio. I do not believe NC State's going to get in because I looked at the rankings and Louisville did beat them on the road back in October. So I just don't see Louisville dropping behind NC State unless they get absolutely shredded by Florida State. And it is a possibility because Florida State's really good. And Louisville's not very good considering they lost at home to Kentucky. So
do you think we would travel miserably to the Orange Bowl? Do you think we'll travel well at all to the Orange Bowl, or do you think people are just going to stay home?
No, people in Ohio State fans in Florida will go to the game. The Ohio State fans in Florida will go to the game.
So you think there'll be plenty? You think it'll be full?
No, it's not going to be full, but I'm just saying Ohio State fans will travel. Hey, Mittens came to say hi to everyone.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Mittens, say hi.
Hello, Mittens. Okay. Well, yeah. So Orange Bowl, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see who we play in the Orange Bowl. We're not going to the playoffs. Everybody,
we will give you guys. We will give you guys some updates about things we're hearing out of bowl practices. If we're hearing anything good, any player emerging, we may discuss that in some future episodes. So,
we have a lot of content coming for you guys. Yeah. Don't you worry. I know it's about to be the off season in a month for the football team, but the off season is never over around here.
That's right. All kinds of things to discuss, state of the program, the angst that continues to build in the Ohio State program due to late season collapses. Last thing I'll say, Jay, and then we can close this thing up. I did hear somebody I read it the other day, and it's an individual who claimed to be an Auburn alum and said, I have no dog in this hunt. But he was talking about the Justin Scott decommitment going to Miami. He now lives in South Florida. Auburn alum, lives in South Florida, and claims to be non-biased, but also claims that he knows several high school coaches in the South Florida area. And he said that the perception in South Florida that he hears about Ohio State is that many of the South Florida players view Ohio State as a place that they better get a bag, because it's not a place that they view that like they're going to go definitely get a ring or something. So if they're going to go to Ohio State, they better get a bag. And he said the other thing that he has heard, and I don't know how accurate this is rumors. So let me be totally frank. This guy's claiming to know high school coaches. And the other thing he said that he hears is that a lot of South Florida recruits have said that they believe Ohio State is a very overhyped program because they're so hyped every year, but they never end up really winning a whole lot.
Not telling me anything we didn't already know. So
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that it's possible that it's going to get harder to recruit out of state in some places if that is indeed starting to become the mindset about the program.
Well, Brian Hartline doesn't have a problem considering he got Brandon Innes last year. He still has Jeremiah Smith for right now. So
that's true.
It's not a problem for him. Great recruiter. We don't know about him as a coach yet, but still the best recruiter in the country. He is.
Yep.
So,
yep.
All right. Yeah. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the video, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Take it easy. Thank you guys for watching.